Listen, life is difficult and life is hard. And yes, we are told on a consistent basis, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to act in certain relationship. This is what a couple looks like, blah, blah, blah. But there are times when you need to sit down with yourself and reflect on who you are, what you like, what you dislike, and stuff that are meh, and form a concrete self of identity and a concrete values to abide by. Katisha has no values. None. That's why she cannot make decisions. She does not know what she stands for. She does not know what she wants. She knows nothing. And when you know nothing, you are going to be led by other people who want to use you. It is what it is. It is the world. What jolts you away? What keeps you up? Stay touch with me if you can. Hello and welcome to the Common Archetypes, the channel where we discover our power by discovering ourselves. My name is Paola, and if you're a returning viewer, hello. If this is your first time here, hi, how are you doing? Make sure you hit the like button, the subscribe button, as well as the bell notification. I realized after my last upload, I forgot to talk about this last couple from Love is Blind because the other ones were just so chaotic and the video was too long. So we are just going to jump into this couple. And again, this is an archetypal analysis, all right? The couple I forgot, I'm so sorry, is Bada and Jed. And overall, I'm not gonna lie, I think I kind of forgot this couple because, yes, it was because of the chaos of the previous couples, but I hadn't had a good read on this couple, mostly because of Jed. So I'm going to start with Bada first. Bada has Sage archetype. The Sage is a knowledgeable archetype. They empower themselves with knowledge and they move around the world with their knowledge. So this is your stereotypical smart boy or smart girl. They're very knowledgeable, they know current events, and they are in the know-how. They're also good at networking. I actually think I missed Jed's archetype and Bill. If you go back to my video, I said I don't quite know what Bill's archetype is, but I miss Jed and Bill archetype because they have King archetype. You come on Love is Blind to get married. And people who have King archetype, they like to marry. So that kind of flew under my radar because of the unique setting of Love is Blind, but I'm going to talk about Bill later. So first up, Jed. Jed has, as I've mentioned, King archetype. This is the leader, the CEO, the man in charge, and they not only set a high bar for themselves, but also a high bar for their team, and they lead through their action. When they're mature, they lead through their actions. When they're immature, they get a little bit too controlling. But yes, so this is a King archetype, and they love being in a union and they love marriage, obviously, because of the love aspect. However, it is just easier to market a couple than a single person. Like, if you have been single or you have not been in a couple, our society has basically been built for couples, for families, for, that's why population decline is such a big deal, even though there are too many dang on people on earth. Why is population decline a big deal? Anyways, that's just my personal thought, but they like marriage, and our society is built for couples, and couple channel, couple stuff just tends to resonate with the general public because society is built for couples and for families. I'm not the one who makes the rules, I'm just telling you how it is. This archetype of King, just like Queen, is the embodiment of power and control. They love being in power, they love being in control, and I think this controlling nature in Jed was not seen in the pods as with Bill, which is why I kind of just missed it. But it really slowly comes out when they are one-on-one with their partner. But going back to Jed and Bada, Bada has Sage, Jed has King. Jed also has Charmer archetype. He has both of them in his top 3. That was evident for me. And funny enough, both of those archetype of King and Charmer are an archetypal match to the Sage. So this should be a good couple. This is a couple who understands one another. And something about the King archetype, they have a public persona and a private persona. And the sage, the intellectual, the knowledgeable woman is able to understand those, and she can even help him network his ways into room because she's knowledgeable, she's intellectual, she's in the know. So they are an archetypal match, and it can work out. However, I'm up to episode 6, and I'm going to talk about up to episode 6 here. I can already see how that is becoming a point of contention, even though archetypally they're a really good match. And now going back to Bill and Ashleigh. I already said Ashleigh has protected mother archetype. These are the protectors of family, protectors of women, protectors of girls. Like, they are heavy on protecting. Think mama bear, okay? Instead of sweet mama, this is mama bear energy. And Bill has the archetype of king, and he also has the archetype of knight. I think I was just sleeping through his stuff. Okay, he has archetype of king and he has archetype of knight. And I've already talked about the knight archetype, how they are loyal and they're committed to their cause in Kal's. But in Bill, it shows up a little bit differently than it does in Kal, because he also has that king archetype, that power and control. He has to be the one in charge, the one who dictates. This is why I say it's very important to know your top 3 archetypes, because they intermingle differently. Such as in this case, Jed has king and charmer archetype, and he does have that controlling nature and domineering nature that people who tend to have king archetype has. However, that similar energy, although it is there, it is kind of toned down a little bit because he has that charmer, boyish, playful archetype. That interaction between that king archetype and that charmer archetype makes his energy appear, it's still kind of controlling, but it's like you can work with it. Whereas Bill, who has both king and knight archetype, they're very upfront and domineering, and that controlling nature of the king plus the discipline and mission driven nature of the knight just makes him appear so rigid, where he can't let go. So this is why I say it is actually important to know all of your top 3, not just one, because Kal, I've already said in a previous video, has this same knight archetype, but he shows up a little bit differently from Bill. But you can go back to that video if you want to hear what I said about Kal. Now, having said that, since Ashleigh has protected mother archetype, her archetype is actually an archetypal match with that of the knight. So these two go along very well, and they can be that couple that kind of rough house with one another. They do a lot of fighting together, and anyways, it's their thing, okay? However, the archetype of a king is not a match for someone who has protective mother archetype. This will be a very interesting dynamic. I don't think they're gonna make it, okay? I do not think they're gonna make it, because based on the episode I'm on, Bill is not gonna let it go. He is going to control every single aspect of this relationship, and due to her nature of her embodying a protective mother archetype, she is going to push back every single time. It's not going to be that sweet rough house. Well, listen, it's not going to be that sweet rough housing that presents itself when you have a partner who has knight archetype and protective mother archetype. It's more so going to be an actual fight, and I don't think they're gonna last. That's just me on an archetypal level. This man is very rigid. And again, I don't know how I miss he had king archetype. He was literally married before. And people who have this archetype, like I said, they will marry you. They're big on marriage. They're big on family. One of the reasons is obviously love. Another reason is it's just easier to navigate the world as a couple. And they understand that. All right. So now, finishing the archetypal analysis, I am going to go. So episode 4 begins, and Mr. Spleen, my hepatic awareness is still going on, saying you're toxic. Mr. Spleen breaks up with Annu. She's taking on these deep sighs, and then she starts crying. And I'm like, your body is releasing tension. Tension has left your body. You're good. You're good. Annu, your praying mama saved you from this cycle. You are good. Thank you, mom. Listen, I always make fun of girls who are like, my mom is my best friend, because my mother is my best friend, okay? I understand. Your praying mama, your God-fearing mom saved you from this psychopath, okay? Annu, I know you were like sad a little bit, but your body was releasing tension, like thank God. I'm happy you are not with him. You will thrive. You will be successful. You may not have found your future husband now. That does not mean he's not going to come soon. But girl, you are good. It's not a loss on you. Okay? This man, like I said before in my review, I think if she would have seen Mr. Spleen, she would have been like, I don't think so. Because he has crazy eyes. I said what I said. So Kieran and Meghan meet. She looks absolutely gorgeous and beautiful in that purple shimmery dress. Like, Meghan, purple is your color. Love it. I know I wasn't really feeling your first pink outfit, but purple is your color. You look absolutely stunning. And then we get into the shit show where Katisha, who can't make up her dang mind. When I was watching it, I was like, huh? But you know what? I actually started feeling happy. And I was like, Demola, you dodged the bullet. You may not know this, you dodged a bullet. This woman is incredibly immature and she is indecisive. Oh my goodness, this triggered me so much. Don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because I'm an only child. Because as an only child, you have to make decisions. I do not like indecisive folks. Tell me how it is. Don't try to quote unquote spare my feelings. You're not sparing my feelings. You're sparing your feelings. You're not taking my feelings into consideration. You just don't want me to look at you like the bad guy. But you are the bad guy in my life. Does that mean you're universally the bad guy? But for my life, you are the bad guy. And just do it. Like, I actually do not... Indecisive people actually triggered me. And I did not think I was going to dislike a character as much as Voldemort. But Katisha's right there with him. Oh my gosh, like, I am at the point where I'm like, get this couple off my screen. Actually, no, keep him on my screen, and I want to see how he gives her dust and air, and she holds on to it for dear life because it's so pathetic. Oh my gosh, you two are pathetic. I like that they're ending up together, and whatever that man gives you, Katisha, I just have one thing to say. You deserve it, and congratulations. Honestly, congratulations on all the breadcrumbing you're gonna get. Congratulations on all the emotional volatility you're gonna get. Congratulations on never being reassured of anything and just left in the dark. Congratulations. Okay, you decide not to learn the lesson from your previous relationship? Wow. Okay, well, you're gonna go through the lesson again on an international stage in 4K. Afterwards, Jet and Bard and me, they were really cute. It's just... something about Jet doesn't sit right with me. I don't know what it is. Okay, when I was watching episode 4, I was just like, something about Jet just... it ain't sitting right with me. And I don't quite know what it is. Can't put my finger on it. I don't know. Katisha and Voldemort met, you know, they're both ain't-ish people. They actually have chemistry together when they both met. They're both ain't-ish, so it's just, it is what it is. Get them off my screen. And now the couple went to Cyprus. Oh, it is so beautiful. I need to add Cyprus on my list of places to visit because that place was gorgeous. So beautiful. Well, I guess where they're staying is beautiful. I just want to talk about Kieran and Meghan because after watching up to episode 6, oh my gosh, you can see it in my face. I love their dynamic. I know I said they have the exact same archetype. So I knew they were going to be goofy and fun, explorative. I already knew that. But it's so fun watching it on screen because all the shit show, I just need to see something sweet. So Kieran and Meghan are bringing a really nice energy to this whole season. I did not think was possible. After how everything went down, I'm just like, this is a horrible season. But Kieran and Meghan are really holding it down. They're doing their best and they're being the goofy fun couple. They're in Cyprus, they're being cutesy. And I'm just going to pick up conversations that kind of like made me think. And it was Kal and Sarover and they were talking about the original type. Sarover is like, yeah, you are my type, muscular, fit, love it. And he was like, well, he's only dated blonde women. And I was like, uh-oh. That's very interesting because, well, this is definitely for me. And we know blonde is not just... I can't just dye my hair blonde and be considered blonde. Blonde is specifically white woman with a box dye. I'm not trying to be shady, but that's what it is. People who have a specific type, to me, it's kind of like a caution. Like caution with this one. Because people who have a specific type, they either tend to be, one, really controlling, or two, they are insecure and they think if they are paired up with what is considered the standard of beauty, because it's not like Sarover is not beautiful. She is a beautiful woman. But in their mind, because society has conditioned every single one of us. If you think you have not been conditioned by society and your type is your type just because of what you like, that's a lie. That is a lie, I'm telling you right now. Marketers and advertising agents are really good at doing their job. And as quiet as it's kept, most of us don't actually know who we are. We are constantly fed stuff from an algorithm to make us believe we are lesser than so we can buy products. So if you tell me you have not been conditioned, I'm definitely not going to believe you. But we have all been conditioned to a degree to believe this is what beauty looks like. Beauty looks like this, or beauty looks like that. As we slowly learn about who we are, and as we slowly learn more about ourselves, as we become wiser, we figure out that wise people, men and women, choose partners based on character traits and not physical traits. Physical traits would disappear in a couple of years. Or if you have money, I guess you can get plastic surgery. But even that has a limit until you start looking plastic. Physical traits are going to disappear. And beauty really is just skin deep. But it's okay if you still value beauty highly. I get it. I understand. All right. When people tell me they have a type, I'm not taking you seriously. I am not taking you seriously. Because for you to believe happiness can only be found when it looks in a certain way is wild to me. It is crazy to me. How can you not see men and women of these various cultures as valuable and as beautiful, and your type is just so rigid in this small little box? It's like, anyways, I like that some of us are unpacking that and we are questioning where our type is coming from. And I also like that some of us are being rigid and stuck in our types because discrimination has a way of biting you in the butt. Okay, I do have a dark side, and discrimination has a way of biting you in the butt. I suggest that's not you, but I really do believe in a single culture. I actually got this from a Chinese woman, and she told me this one day. Well, she's an older Chinese woman, all right? So there's definitely some aspect of anti-blackness here. And she told me, people believe white people are good, black people are bad, blah, blah, blah. But it's honestly 33% each. 33% of black people are good, 33% might be bad, and then 33% are kind of neutral. And it's the same with white folks, it's the same with Asian folks. I'm of the same sentiment. People are a combination of their culture, their tradition, but also their core and their nature and who they are. Good people are just good. There's no package that goodness, kindness, and love comes in. There's no package jealousy, envy, and hatred comes in. And if you think because a partner looks a certain way, then you're gonna get that, I just have one thing to say. You deserve it. Okay? Listen, you deserve every single thing you're gonna get from that partner. Alright, but moving on. Even though he said he has a specific type, he did highlight the fact that he is moving differently because it hasn't worked out. I like the fact that he was forthright with Sarover on this. I can imagine how it can sting a little bit, but I just think he just needs to provide more reassurance or just tell her he thinks she's beautiful, he thinks she's valuable, and even though she does not fit who he used to date, that doesn't mean that's not a knock on her. And honestly, he did that because at that time he was immature. I don't know where he is right now, but like I said, it's like people who have such a rigid type, I'm like, you got issues. And I'm just gonna move on. Okay, so that is that on that couple. And it was so interesting. I mean, I did say Kal have 9 archetype and they're very loyal. I think it was so interesting because even with Sarover, he mentioned Demola and how he's a nice guy. And when Katisha decided to break up with Demola, he even said, like, that doesn't sit right with him, which I completely agree. From my perspective as a viewer, I'm looking at Kal and Sarover, where it's obvious Sarover does not like the fact that he's only dated, like, blonde women, but he's talking about his boy Demola. I'm like, Kal, reassure your girl. Like, yes, you think y'all are good, but just because, like, you can see from her body language, she tensed up a little bit, okay? Like, reassure your girl that you love her, not talking about your boy Demola and how he was done wrong. We all know he was done wrong, and that woman deserves every single thing she's gonna get from Voldemort. So I actually like the fact that she picked Voldemort because She clearly did not learn the lesson from her previous relationship, and she's gonna go through worse on international television. And I'm just gonna sit back and watch. I'm not even gonna laugh, but I'm definitely not gonna feel sad. That's basically how episode 4 ended. Like, Meghan and Kieran were being completely cute and adorable, and Kal asked Katisha what was on her mind. And you know, as a person who's indecisive, she doesn't know. Girl, get off my screen. I don't like, ugh, get off my screen. I'm glad Mrs. Spleen is off my screen, but now you and Voldemort need to be off my screen. Okay, so now we are starting with episode 5. Meghan and Kieran are being so cute. I'm actually happy I don't have to worry, because I previously said they have the same archetype and they're giving friends vibe, but they're definitely giving couple vibe. I love the fact that he said he was attracted to her immediately, and I was like, okay, y'all are gonna work out. It's so fun, it's so cute, it's so giddy. I'm like, yay. And you have Sarover and Kal just like, she's like lightly massaging his pecs. I'm like, okay, girl, okay. And they have conversations about, yeah, I think this is a part where he talks more about how he's only dating white girls. And I'm like, Kal, just shut up. Just be quiet. You've already said that before. Have you moved on from thinking love can only appear in a single package? Or have you grown up from that idea or not? Like, I understand why he's doing it, and I don't know if production is telling them to keep talking about it, but it's just like, I'm of the belief, and I know this is just me, if you have moved on from a previous idea you held in the past, just say, it's something I used to do. It was immature of me, but now I've changed, and you moved on. But it's just the fact that he keeps talking about it. I'm like, are you still into only white British blonde girls, or have you decided to be a man, grow up, and know that love can come from any side of the rainbow? Where are we? Are we still teenagers where we believe I have to get someone who looks like this? Or have we become a man and known there's more to life than just that? I don't know. I was just like, boy, stop talking about this. The more you talk about it, the more she's gonna feel like she's not physically enough for you, which is crazy because she's a beautiful woman. Oh my gosh, I didn't like the conversation, but I guess they're still talking about it. And then we get Voldemort and Voldoress, and I was just like, at first glance I was like, oh wow. Y'all were definitely intimate last night. I could tell immediately. I was just like, Voldemort and Voldoress they were in those sheets at night. And I'm gonna add a lesson here, because this is not just a Love is Blind review, but it's also an archetypal review. And I'm just gonna insert something right here. Most men, not all, but most, the intention with a woman be intimate. Okay, we are adults, we're not kids here. Let's not be blind. All right, most men, when they're interested in a woman, the goal is physical intimacy, okay? Or as you call it, sex. That is the goal, which is why it is always advisable for women to get a guy emotionally attached before you become physically intimate. Because if they reach their goal with you, they're detached, okay? I'm not going to go into details because this is not the time and place for that. But usually you want to get a man emotionally attached so that when he reaches the goal of physical intimacy, he's not going to check out. Whereas for a woman, the physical intimacy is also tied to the emotional attachment, which is why it's advisable for women to get a man emotionally attached before you get physically intimate with him. Physical intimacy for women and for men, they translate as two different things. For women, when they get physical intimate, this is not all women. I do understand that, all right? The archetype protective mother does not get all that emotionally intimate just because she's physically intimate. But for all the other feminine archetype, where they do get physical intimate, they also get emotionally intimate. For them, it's like there's a link there. Whereas for men, it is always better for them to be emotionally intimate. And then when they do attain the goal of physical intimacy, that link is even stronger. But that link has already been there prior to the act. When I saw these two, I was like, y'all done did it. It is so obvious. This man, the way this man is going to check out. Oh, is it okay to prey on someone's downfall? I feel kind of bad. But I'm like, congratulations. That's all I have to say. I was like, I get like he has, and especially with his particular archetype, girl. Congratulations. That's all I have to say. Wow. Anyways, wow. Maybe the only male archetype who would not completely detach after physical intimacy is actually Demola's archetype, which she rejected. So again, congratulations. I have nothing to say to that. Congratulations. Okay, so that was that with Voldemort and Voldemort. I really don't want to spend much time on them because it's like, I know where this is ending. So the next couple is Barda and Jet, and she's basically talking about how she's used to taking the lead in her life and in her relationship. And I can see how when he's having that conversation with her, he wants her to slow down, but for a lot of people, not all, we are not just one thing, we are a combination of multiple things. But for people who do have sage archetype, they do like 50-50, even when they're women. But I will back it up, okay? If you're a sage, you're like, I don't like that. It's probably because you have 2 other archetypes in your top 3 that makes you a little more open. That's all I'm going to say, okay? Open to receiving. But the sage, the knowledgeable one, and especially in Barda's case, I think she immigrated to the UK at a young age. She basically became a translator for her family. If you've been there, you know how hard it is, how difficult it is. And at a young age, you need to equip yourself with knowledge of this new country you're in and then help your family navigate. It's a whole thing. I did it. It's exhausting. I know how it is. I too have sage archetype, so I do understand. However, when you have such a strong sage archetype that is the knowledgeable, the intellectual person, the go-to person or even expert, it is very difficult for a woman like that to just sit back, relax, and take. Especially when she's a go-to person and the expert. Especially when she has been the translator for her family or like the person who's in the know-how, the networker. It is very difficult for a woman like that to expect her to just sit back and relax. It is not in the nature of a sage to sit back and relax. They're very go. I need to know what is happening here. I need to know what is happening there. They're amazing networkers because they put themselves out there and they acquire knowledge. That's how they function. I understand why he would want a traditional woman. He has that king archetype. If you know the king love options, although the sage is one of his options, the other 2 options are very much laid back and just like, go with the flow. So I understand where that traditional aspect comes in, but I don't think it should be that big of an issue because his other archetype is very open to women leading. Like, I think Jed is more so concerned with how things appear, which is very much in line with his first archetype of king, than how things are actually going. Although I am not a strong supporter of 50-50 relationships, I'm just not. I think if he would let go of control a little bit, this would work. And when he does want to be in charge, just vocalize that to Barda. Because again, sage women are very smart, clever. Like, they are not beating those smart girl allegations anytime soon. And just making things equal will be easier on her. And maybe as time goes on, he can take more of the reins and she can let go. But if he's like, you need to be submissive with a woman who has sage, even when they sit back, they are not the complete definition of submissive. They will probably work on the back end while the partner is like the public person and they will be getting all the knowledge in the back end. So it's, I don't know, but because both of his archetype and archetypal match to her, I don't think this will be a big deal. I think they can work this out. But Barda and Jet is just like, I know some people are going to say, well, she needs to let him lead. He's the man, blah, blah, blah. But based on her archetype, it's very difficult to do that. Not only based on her archetype, but how she was raised as the go-to person, the knowledgeable person, the translator in her family. It's going to be very difficult to let that go. And I think just slowly, like starting at 50-50 and then slowly letting the reins will be better for her, because even women who have sage archetype without all the familial nuances that she has, they don't like being submissive. They are not the definition of submissive. They are smart and intellectual. Submission is not in there. Can they be submissive at times? Yes. But at times, do not expect them to be submissive 24/7. They equip themselves with knowledge. It is not submission, it is tactic. So, I think a slower pace would be good for her. But yeah, I was just like, I just felt bad because it's like they're a really cute couple, they're a match, they're an archetypal match, and they vibe really well. So it's like, don't let this be your downfall, because you can really work these stuff out. After that, the couples meet and they're having nice drinks, and again, Demola is brought back in the conversation, and I'm just like, can y'all leave him alone? Can y'all actually leave him alone? I understand why he's brought in, because it's like, when you're a genuinely nice person, people root for you. How can you not like the person who is trying their hardest, being authentic, being forthright, being intentional? People like you. I'm pretty sure in the boys' quarters, a lot of men were looking up to him, which is why they keep bringing him up. But then, unfortunately, he mashed up with a ding-dong. It's not his fault. It's just life. Unfortunately, that happens. Okay? But he's brought back in the fray, and they're still talking about it. I think Voldemort talked about something along the line of, he doesn't know why Voldemort talked to him to make him feel so reassured. But it's just like, Voldemort, be for real. You are just gripping onto every single excuse to let go of this girl, because you already got what you wanted. You wanted a smash, you smashed, and now you're looking for an excuse to bounce. It's okay. It's all right. This is not a new gameplay, please. And I'm just watching like, yeah, well, I expect nothing less from Voldemort. But hey, the bride of Voldemort is talking to Ashleigh, and Ashley's asking her, are you okay? You two have not said I love you. We're questioning your coupling. Is just like, and she said, oh, why are you questioning me? It's just like, this girl cannot stand on anything. And because she can't stand on anything, she's falling for everything. Good for her. I don't feel bad. Okay. It's just like, good for her. You hurt a genuinely nice person, but it's okay. He's going to bounce back. He's going to be good. He's going to find the love of his life. It's definitely not you. But they're talking about it. And I'm just like, can you please get this woman off my screen? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. It's just like, listen, life is difficult and life is hard. And yes, we are told on a consistent basis, this is what we need to do. This is how we need to act in certain relationship. This is what a couple looks like, blah, blah, blah. But there are times when you need to sit down with yourself and reflect on who you are, what you like, what you dislike, and stuff that are meh, and form a concrete self of identity and a concrete values to abide by. Katisha has no values. None. That's why she cannot make decisions. She does not know what she stands for. She does not know what she wants. She knows nothing. And when you know nothing, you are going to be led by other people who want to use you. It is what it is. It is the world. I'm sorry, babes. That is the life we live in. That is why one of the predominant advice I always give on this channel is use your 20s to explore. Use your 20s to figure out who you are, figure out what you like, figure out what you dislike in platonic relationship and romantic relationship. Figure all of those stuff out so that when you are in your 30s, like this woman, you do not embarrass yourself on international television. But some of us get there a little later than others, which again, it's fine. Life is a journey, not a sprint. This woman is just going to go along to get along. And when you go along to get along, you get used. You get abused. You become a doormat. Because people know you don't have a real sense of self. And when you don't have a real sense of self, they get to tell you who you are. They dictate how you move. They tell you what's good for you. But when you have a real sense of self, and let's say you are a loving and generous person, But in this instance, you know you're dealing with some BS, so you don't want to give. When a manipulator comes and tell you, hey, you're not a generous person, you know exactly who you are. You're like, hell no. You don't believe it because you have a real sense of self and you know exactly who you are. She doesn't know who she is. I honestly do not think she should be dating. It's like, go to therapy, okay? Same advice as Sophie. Immature, innocent, go to therapy, please. Stop dating. You're not going to find the love you want. Go to therapy, okay? You need to be in therapy instead of being in Love is Blind. Yet you are embarrassing yourself in 4K. At least Sophie was dumped. This is like, and she has more time to heal. But anyways, I was just listening to this couple conversation. I was just like, he's looking for a way to dump her while she's Voldemort's bride. So, hey, whatever. And then Ashleigh is there trying to protect this woman's emotion. I'm like, Ashleigh, don't waste your time on this girl. Don't waste your time on this girl. Please. So after that little thing, they went to the apartments. I kind of thought that was fast. Is that just me or you? It's like, that honeymoon phase was really short. It was what, half an episode? Well, I guess they started a little bit in episode 4, but I was just like, it's really short. So now they're in the apartment. Kieran and Meghan are being so freaking cute. I love this couple. Oh my gosh, they're so cute. And then that same conversation of Demola is still lingering in Voldemort and the bride of Voldemort's room. And I'm just like, girl, you're so, I don't want to call a woman dumb, but you might be a little bit intellectually challenged. If you cannot see, well, she can't see anything. Listen, if you're in a similar situation as this girl, unfortunately, this man is using every single excuse to dump her. He's not interested. He already got what he wanted. He wanted a smash, and he smashed. Now he's like, okay, let me go back on the market and see what else is out there. He's not interested. He wants to leave. You know, when you're used to the bare minimum, you think the bare minimum is love. Anyways, I do love that they're together. I really love the fact that they are together, but I need them to keep Demola's name out of their mouths. I'm tired of it. I am tired. You broke up with the man. Stop mentioning him. Again, people who are not intentional. People who don't know who they are. They're just like, ugh. Stop mentioning him. You broke up with the man. It's done. Who cares if he sees you as the villain? Who cares? It's done. You are the villain in his life. You move on. But when you have a strong sense of self, you don't care what other people think of you. You know who you are. But when you're like her, it's like, I don't want you to see me as the villain, even though I broke up with you. Like, huh? Listen, breakups are only fine when both parties decide, I don't think this is working out for us. That's the only time you have a clean breakup. You are not going to have a clean breakup when someone is interested, the other person's not. It's not going to be clean. You break up and you move on. Y'all love lingering. Oh my gosh, you're giving me a headache. And I think the episode ends with Ashleigh and Bill meeting her father. When I saw her father, I was like, wow, your father is giving me hippie vibes. I was not expecting her father to be like that. It was just like, that is very interesting. It does seem like she is close with her dad, though. I'm still not on the Ashleigh and Bill train. I'm still not on it. Bill is not it for Ashleigh. He might be it for someone else, but he's not it for Ashleigh. And that is definitely something I'm going to stand on. But again, best couple of the episode, Kieran and Meghan. They're so cute. Alright, so now moving on to episode 6, because I need to wrap this thing up. The first family member we met was Ashleigh's father. And I mean, it was just like, yeah, I approve. So there's really nothing much there. But yeah, her dad gave me hippie vibes, but that was just it. I'm still not feeling the Ashleigh and Bill thing. So the next family and friends we're meeting is Kieran and his boys. And when I saw that, I was like, okay, Kieran, you're not going to bring your mom, your dad, just your friends, I guess. Maybe it's a gamer community thing. I don't know. But usually friends of men don't really have much to say about their partner. I was surprised they talked as long as they did. I'm like, maybe I've just been in the wrong rooms, but usually when a guy brings his girlfriend around, they're just like, yeah, she seems cool, and then they just go back to do their stuff. I'm surprised they talk as much as they did, but I guess they were concerned on the fact that he's moving too fast, Does he know it's real love? You know, all questions that are definitely needed to be asked, especially on something like Love is Blind. But it's like, there are instances where people just meet each other and they know. So I don't really think time is a determining factor on whether a relationship is successful or not. And I use the term successful because I think even when you break up with someone, that can still be a successful relationship. I don't think a marker for a successful relationship is time, even though society says it is. It's not, okay? Obviously, some of our grandmas have been in tumultuous relationship for a long period of time where they were miserable. That is not successful to me. However, if you were in a short-term relationship or maybe just 6 months, but you learn so much about yourself and so much about the other person and so much about the type of partners that vibe with you, I think that relationship is successful, even though it didn't last a long time. I know that is not a very popular take, but that is just how I see it. I also understand the friend's concern on this is kind of moving fast, but again, Kieran and Meghan are so cute together. Like, they are so cute. This definitely seems like it is a friends to lovers thing, but out of other couples, they're the ones I'm least worried about. Because all the other people are just, ugh. They are the ones I'm least worried about. But yeah, the friends had their concern, and I was just like, okay, but it's just... But I was just surprised they were talking that much. That was for me. I was like, wow, y'all are actually talking a lot. I'm shocked. Okay. And then Barda and Jet still talk about her independence, and I started questioning. I was like, I don't know if Barda is independent or hyper independent. And from the framing, it seems like they're framing her as hyper independent. I don't know if that's just the editing or not. Her, like I said before, her archetype of the series, they are independent women by nature. And yes, there are times where they can sit back and relax, but it's an archetype of independence and of knowledge and acquiring knowledge. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's the framing, or I don't know if she has leaned too much in her independence to the point she's hyper independent, but they're definitely framing it in a way that leans toward hyper independence. So I don't know. I don't get any red flags from her yet, but if you happen to be a woman who is, you're hyper independent, you're not just independent, but you feel like you must do every single thing on your own, otherwise it's not going to get done, or maybe it's not going to get done right, it is definitely something you need to work on, because independence is great. All adults should be independent, right? However, hyper independence will really make your partner feel like you don't need them, or you maybe even don't want them around. And she did state the fact that she's independent and she doesn't technically need a man, but she's here because she wants him. Which I'm like, okay, that's good, but are you independent or are you hyper independent? Because the two are different. Hyper independence, you don't let your partner do anything. Whereas independent, you can give and take. You can give and take, and I think if she's just independent where she can give and take, it's just something they need to talk about. It's like, he can vocalize, hey, I want to take on more of this role in our relationship. Are you okay with that? And she can, she can give her opinions on that, and she can also state which role she wants to take in the relationship. And again, you don't have to follow societal norms. You don't have to be this certain type of woman just because your mother or your culture was a certain type of woman. You're your own individual person who thinks for yourself. And even though culture is a big factor on the way we act, it's not the only factor. It is a piece of the pie. It is not the whole pie. So just give and take. Relationships are about give and take. Sometimes you're going to give, other times you're going to take. And you need to be comfortable with doing both. You need to be comfortable with giving, and you need to be comfortable with taking. That's all it is. But yeah, this conversation, I was just like, okay, because the first conversation I was like, maybe she's just independent, which is fine. But now they're kind of framing it as she might be hyper independent, which I can see how that can be detrimental a little bit. After that, the next family we meet is Kal and his grandma and his mother. I was like, oh, this might be where the blonde white woman thing comes from. Kal wants a woman who looks like his mama and grandma, which I'm like, okay. But The definite archetypes would tend to pair up with people who have a similar energy as a parental figure. That is definitely a thing. However, whenever someone seeks a partner who just has distinct features that a caretaker has, I am definitely looking at it sideways. It's like, Kal, I'm pretty sure your grandma and your mom are lovely women, but they're not lovely women because they're blonde. That was very interesting for me. I was just like, I was laughing the whole time. All right. But it does seem like his mom and grandma are very open to her. They think she's lovely. I mean, she's Sarover is a beautiful and lovely woman, and she's very poised. So they do like her, and they are accepting of her. I think the grandma also said, like, some people just meet. Like, life happens. Sometimes, yes, you're going to be dating someone for a long time and then you marry. Other time, you might fall in love at first sight. It does happen. Okay, it might not be the norm, but it does happen, and then you can be together forever. It's just, life is life, and there's really no marker as to how it's supposed to go. It just depends on the individual person. Okay, I like that his family is very open to her, and they seem like a really good family. And the moment that should not be mentioned, oh my gosh, I thought Voldemort was bad. His bride is worse. Why is she calling Demola for a chat to say I broke up with you again? Like, get this woman off my screen. Get this woman off my screen. I do not want to see Voldemort. I do not want to see the bride of Voldemort anymore. Get her off my screen. Girl, who cares? You broke up with him. Move on. Move on. He's not even in the show anymore. We had not seen Demola. He was gone. Why are you pulling him for a chat? And in the back of my mind the whole time, I was thinking, she better not do what other people on Love is Blind have done previously, where they make a wrong decision on a partner and then they move on to the other person, because I was already not liking her and I don't think she's a nice person. And all those other people, I was supportive of them because they were genuinely nice people who were bamboozled in the pod, whereas Voldemort was not bamboozled in the pods. She was not. She got a whole bunch of nothing and she wanted a whole bunch of nothing. So why are you meeting this man talking about, yes, we broke up? I was just like, what the heck is the point of this whole meeting? He's going to move on to bigger and better things, and it ain't you. It's clearly not you. You're not it. He's going to move on to bigger and better things, and it is not you. Move on. Move on with Voldemort. I mean, Voldemort's probably going to leave you. He's going to say no on the altar. It's so obvious. But hey, move on with Voldemort. Get your heart broken and then move on. The heck? My gosh. I hate indecisive people. What was the point of meeting with him? To say, yeah, I broke up with you, but it's not because of you. It's because of me. We all knew that. Duh. The heck? Pissing me off. So after that conversation that did not need to happen at all, didn't need to happen, we go back to Kal and Sarover and his brother. I don't know if this is the brother he was talking about was in the military. If his brother is questioning his motive, if he really likes her, because his type has always been blonde, white, British women. And now he's bringing this Indian woman, and his brother doesn't believe he's being genuine, and his brother doesn't think it's gonna last. I disagree with the brother, because it's not uncommon for someone so-called type to change when they hit their 30s. It's not uncommon. That is because a lot of us in our 20s were still figuring out ourselves because of marketing, and because we are told this is the creme de la creme, the top of the top looks like this. A lot of men do think their type is just because of something they like, when it's really something they have been conditioned to like and marketed to. So although the brother doesn't believe it, I'm not going to hold the brother's opinion in high regard, because it's not uncommon for someone to actually have a successful relationship with someone who was not originally their type when they have grown up. It just is what it is. All right. So because of Kal's age and because of how he has gone through in the past, I don't think that should be looked at. Because I've said this and I'm going to say it again. I believe Men who have a specific type are either 1, controlling, or 2, incredibly insecure. Young men are incredibly insecure. It comes with age. They don't know who they are yet. They don't know what they like. They don't know what they dislike. And they follow older men who tell them this is the creme de la creme. Or advertisers or guys they look up to be like, yeah, you need to have this. So I'm not going to fault someone who has decided, hey, this thing is not working for me and I'm going to try something else. And just because they have gone, I guess, on the opposite side, which is it really opposite because Sarover is a beautiful woman. She's just not blonde. His actual type might actually just be pretty girls. But since he has dated a very specific one, I can understand why the brother is questioning him. But it's actually very common when people mature, they deviate from their type, which is basically conditioning and advertising. But after a certain age, like 30 and above, if a man has a certain type, I don't know, run away from that. Run away from that. I don't know. It's just like you're in your 30s and you're still thinking these childish thoughts. I don't know about that. But although I can see how people would take the brother's words into consideration, I'm not going to, because he has made it clear that he has dated only white, British, blonde women before. It's not something he's trying to hide. And he has also made it clear that he's doing something different because that has not worked before. This seems to be a trend that happens in a lot of guys who decide to mature and grow up and focus on character traits instead of physical traits. It's just a thing that happens. It's a part of life, okay? After you figure out who you are and what you want, most people are not going to be so focused on physical traits, like something like hair color. Come on. But they would still focus on, oh, she's beautiful. That's something that I'm not going to say, oh, men are not going to focus on. Oh, no. They're going to focus on a beautiful woman. But instead of maybe just a beautiful white British woman, they'll be open to just beautiful women all around the globe. But yeah, so even though his brother said that, I'm like, I'm still but yeah. So after that, the family met with Jet, and I thought this was so cute. Oh my gosh, Barda is definitely the translator of her family. As a fellow translator, as a fellow person who had to write resumes, like, I started writing resumes at 11. Okay, I could not even apply for a job, but I was out here writing resumes. My gosh. As a fellow translator for my family, and as a fellow resume writer for my family, I understand, and I get it. And her family is very open to Jed. They love him. They're cackling. It's fun. It's great. Her mother is like, I want 6 grandkids. I was like, oh my gosh. Definitely comes from a soft, nurturing, and loving family. And it's difficult. It's difficult being an immigrant in another country, having to learn all the ways of that country, plus preserving your culture. It's difficult. It is hard. And especially when you are the smart, clever one, people will look at you like, hey, even when you're a child, they will look at you like, what does this mean, translator? And you got to step up to the plate. So I can definitely relate with the independence nature. And again, I still don't know if she's independent or hyper independent. Or maybe it's because I can relate to her so much. It's just like, But from the encounter with her family, it seemed they're great and they're lovely people. And it's just like, really touched my heart. And I really like Barda. Jed, I'm still questioning him a little bit. I don't know about him. But again, I think they can really just talk it out and focus on their roles for their unique relationship. Because all of us have been conditioned and socialized to believe relationships need to look like this. The man does this, the woman does this. Dun, dun, dun. But dang it, we're people, okay? Some of us are just better at other stuff than others. And it's not because of gender. It's not because of culture. It's just because of who we are. And I think them having a conversation about which roles they want to take in that relationship and the roles they want your partner to embody would be a great thing. Honestly, they just need to have a conversation. Instead of trying to stick to gender norms, instead of trying to stick to, is it called couple norms? I don't even know. Instead of trying to stick to these gender norms of submissive woman and macho man, they just need to talk it out. Because again, that is how the sage functions. They are information and they are knowledgeable and they gather information. If you talk it out with them, they will come to a logical conclusion. Trust me, they're very much logical. So I think they just need to talk it out and talk about which roles they want to embody in a relationship and which roles they want their partners to have. I don't think she'll be against him taking on some stuff, but I think the thing again is just she does not want to be submissive, kept housewife. And I get it. Because of her archetype, it's actually very difficult for them to be submissive, kept housewives. They need to keep themselves busy. So I get that. But again, a conversation about how we should do things as a couple instead of looking at this couple template would be very helpful for these two. But I think they can handle it. Even though I don't particularly see it for Jed, I think them as a couple, they can still work it out. And then we end the episode with Bill being a controlling freak. Like, ooh, I'm getting triggered again. This is not good. Listen, this whole series of Love is Blind UK has been triggering me left and right. You have the bride of Voldemort who's indecisive, and then you have Bill who's a controlling freak. My gosh, am I gonna survive? We're gonna see. And he's just like, you need to buy this, you need to buy that. Dang, that's annoying. Oh my gosh, that's annoying. But I'm not surprised he's controlling. He has two domineering archetypes in his top three. He has both king and knight, and that is a combo I do not wish on anyone. But hey, she can't have stuff in the pantry, otherwise he's gonna eat it. Doesn't that mean you're not disciplined, Bill? Doesn't that fall on you? Be disciplined. Just because she has chocolates in the pantry does not mean you go pig out. Unless you have an ED. That's, I guess maybe that would be different. Do we need to put a lock on the pantry? So I'm trying to tell her what to buy and what not to buy. I guess lock up the pantry, girl. Lock up the pantry. That's it. That's it for this episode. Did not care for Voldemort and his wife. Did not think the Demola conversation needed to happen. But, you know, she's here to waste our time. Javen is here to waste Katisha's time. Katisha is here to waste the viewer's time and Demola's time. Just big old time wasters. A couple that just wastes time. Bill and Ashleigh, I don't see it for them. Kal and Sarover, I think they'll make it, and even though the brother had his apprehension, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Meghan and Kieran, absolutely adorable. My goodness. Like, nothing else to say. Great couple. I knew they were going to vibe instantly because of their archetype, but as a couple, I can really see it for them. Barda and Jed, again, just communication and identifying your roles in a relationship. It does not have to be traditional gender roles. You make your relationship work however you want. Okay, so that is it for my Love is Blind archetypal review / commentary of episode 3 to 6. Please let me know what you thought of it in the comment section down below. Please let me know if you resonated with my analysis or didn't resonate. I am open to both sides. And I'll see you next week. Bye.